Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Morning Coffee with Kevin. I'm your host, Kevin Peterson. Welcome to the show this morning. And, man, what a morning it is. You know, for my listeners that don't know me all that well, I live in the central California area. I live in the center of California, and we've been getting quite a few storms lately. And as far as I'm concerned, I want things to dry up and I want things to warm up. I'm kind of getting tired of the cold, and which is really kind of unlike me because I like the cold. I would much rather have it snowing than 105 degrees out, I just like the cold weather. And but I've kind of been going through this thing lately where I just kind of feel like, I'm ready for some warm weather. I'm ready for some sunshine. And for multiple reasons, I have my own agenda here. And for me, I'm looking forward to brewing beer, and I've mentioned that before, that I'm going to start talking about brewing beer and possibly even doing some how-to shows on how to brew your own beer. But I'm really kind of looking forward to brewing some beer soon, and I'm looking for some warmer weather so that I can do that. It's not that I can't do it in the cold. I just prefer to do it when the weather's a little warmer. The other thing is I have a beautiful Harley-Davidson motorcycle. And, it's one of those things where I take it out and I ride it on the weekend, and then I spend all week shining the chrome because it's got so much chrome on it. And it's just a beautiful bike. I'm not saying my bike's any better than the next guy's, but, on the other hand, what I am saying is anywhere and everywhere I go with my bike, it turns heads. People are like, wow, look at that thing. And, it's a beautiful bike, and I love riding it. I love the way it sounds. I just like being on it. It puts me in a good place. And I don't worry about my problems. I don't worry about the problems in our world. I don't worry about much of anything other than, possibly the asshole on his cell phone who's not paying attention. But other than that, it's an escape. And if you've never ridden a bike, then I guess you wouldn't understand that. But I'm just looking forward to some warm weather. I'm looking forward to being able to get outside and do some activities with my son, and just start enjoying being out of the house. But anyways, getting back to what I was saying, the weather has just been, we've had a lot of rain. It's been cold, and we're in the process right now of a pretty serious storm. I believe they said this is going to be the last big storm. Possibly this is going to just be the end of it, and everything's going to start drying up, and it's going to start getting warm. And I surely hope so. And as of recording this podcast, I've had notifications on my phone all morning for flash flooding, and it's just been crazy. And I don't understand what the weather has to do with the way people drive. But I noticed this morning, I was taking my son to school, and, and this isn't the first time I've noticed this. I notice this all the time. But when it's raining, people become stupid. They just start acting stupid when they're driving. And it's like, that is the absolute worst time to act this way or to be this way. It's just not smart. And I've seen some accidents lately, some bad ones, and it's because people are foolish and they're not paying attention to what they're doing. And under the conditions of the weather, they're just not being cautious and they're not being safe. I don't get it. I don't get people. But anyways, so I'm inside. I'm inside my podcast studio this morning. I am having my cup of coffee, my morning coffee. Like usual, I ran down to my local Dutch Brothers and picked me up a Irish kicker, extra sweet with a couple extra shots of espresso. And I am just sitting here at my podcast desk, and I am kind of bouncing off the walls. I really loaded up with some caffeine this morning. But anyways, I want to talk to people, and this kind of came to mind this morning. I wanted to talk to people about activities that really do keep me busy, keep my mind active, and just keep me, keep me from going insane, being locked up in the house when the weather's like this, because I don't particularly like to be out in this weather unless I have to. I used to work at a job where I had to be out in this weather and I had to work in this weather. But I'm at a point in my life that I really don't want to do that anymore. So with that being said, I want to talk about my artwork. And I've mentioned before that that I create fantasy art, digital art, and this is something that I had really I've been interested in for many, 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 many years, and I really never took it too seriously until recently. And I've been creating a lot of digital art, and my plan is, and I talked to a promoter, somebody who's interested in my art, and I've spoke with this individual, and they would like to help me to get my art out to the public and get it available. And so we're going to start reproducing, I should say, some of my best pieces of art. And I'm going to be putting them up for sale. Now, this is something that I never even really thought about. I never even dreamed of selling my art. I just did this to pass the time and to keep myself busy. And, it's just something I enjoy other than making music or making films or what have you. And I just thought, this will probably never turn into anything. I'm probably not going to get rich off this. And maybe I shouldn't have looked at it that way. Maybe I should have been more like, hey, I can actually make some money with this art. But I just never seriously looked at it that way. But I've had people look at my art, professionals, and they've said, hey, this is good. This is really good. You could sell this. You could make some money. And so now I'm thinking, that's probably not a bad idea, being that I need to start saving and, for my son's college and, medical and, everything else. I mean, I just figured this would be a good time to do so. So that's pretty much what I'm doing and I'm working on right now. And I've got a ton of music projects going on in the studio, and, we've talked about that in past episodes. And I'm still working on that. I've got film projects I'm working on. I really am staying very busy. And but this morning I've really got my art on my mind, and it's been on my mind quite a bit lately. And this is something I wanted to talk about. So I'm going to start reproducing some of my best artwork pieces, and I'm going to start selling them. And, I'm not going to price gouge. I'm not going to, I'm not going to go crazy and sell this stuff for, some unreasonable amount of money. It's going to be affordable. And some of the art I'm thinking I may do one-of prints. Others, I might do multiple prints. I'm not really sure yet. I've got so much art that I would rather concentrate on putting more pieces out of individual work than doing multiples of one work. And, of course, that makes it more rare anyway in the long run. So that's probably what I'm going to do. But that has, like I said, that's kind of been on my mind, and that's something that I'm going to start working on. So I'm gonna mention it in some episodes later on down the road, and we're gonna try to put a little gathering together. Maybe some someday when the weather's cleared up, and maybe like the middle of summer or something, we're going to put a little gathering together, have some food, maybe some wine, maybe some, beer, and just get people together and just have like an open house, I guess, if you will, and allow people to come by and just, go through my art and choose what they want. But I am going to start reproducing this art. I'm pretty excited about that. And gosh, man, I just have so much creative energy and creative thoughts in my head, and I'm always coming up with something new. I mean, I'm always doing something. So I'm so blessed that I have the ability to do this, because it does keep me active, and it keeps me busy. But then again, like I said, when it warms up and the weather's nice, there's nothing that's going to keep me from getting on that Harley and doing some riding. I'm looking forward to some long trips. Matter of fact, I have a very good friend, very close friend. We worked together for 30 years. We worked together 30 years. Then he retired. He's been retired for the last 4 years, and then I just recently retired. So he was kind of in a position to where he had lost his riding partner and really didn't have anybody who wanted to do any serious motorcycle riding. So me and him are going to be spending probably quite a bit of time together this summer doing some riding, and we had even talked at one point about we were going to take a trip to El Paso, Texas, and I would still like to go there. There's a huge Harley Davidson dealership there that I've always wanted to go see, and so. That would be kind of cool. Who knows? It's all pretty much going to depend on, our health. We're both getting a little older, and, that kind of ride is a little more difficult than it used to be. So, other than that, wow, I'm still looking for a venue for my CD release party, and we still have not found anything. I tell you, folks, I'm really starting to stress here. If I have any local listeners in Tulare County, I am looking for a venue, excuse me, to hold my CD release party. And we're probably not going to have the full band there. We're not going to do a performance. We originally wanted to, but due to scheduling, that's probably not going to happen. So, but I'm looking for like a mid-sized venue to do this. So if anybody has any input, I would greatly appreciate it. Hey, folks, I am going to pause for a moment and go to a short break, and then I will be right back to finish this podcast. So just hold tight, and I'll be back in just a few minutes. Sorry about this little delay. Hey, everybody, I'm back. Hey, I apologize for that little break in the middle of the podcast. I don't normally do that. I don't know what's going on with me. I think I'm coming down with a head cold. I don't feel bad, but yeah, I just haven't been myself today, I guess. Well, anyways, getting back to the podcast, I'm still looking for a venue for my CD release party, and it's pretty important that I find something soon. So if like I said before, if there's anybody in the local area, Tulare County, and they know where there might be a mid-sized venue for rent or that can be used, I would greatly appreciate it if you could, contact me and give me the information. So, so other than my artwork that I'm currently working on, I am developing a website for Manila Dawn Records, and this is something else that I wanted to talk about. I've been a Facebook user since 2010, I think, 2009, 2010, so for a while. And I was reluctant to get on Facebook for a long time. I originally, MySpace? I originally had a MySpace account. Gosh, how far back was that? And so when Facebook came out, I was a little reluctant. I kept my MySpace account. And then MySpace became, it was more, instead of for personal stuff, it became more for artists. And so I got away from it. Not that I couldn't have utilized the account for my artistic work, but I just decided at that time not to. And so I was, like I said, kind of reluctant to move from MySpace over to Facebook. And I think it was in 2009, 2010, I began using Facebook. And I decided that I really, just recently, I've decided that I'm not really happy with Facebook anymore, and I don't think I'm going to delete the account. I just don't believe that I'm going to use Facebook for business purposes anymore, and that's why I'm developing a website just for the business. And because the business is growing enough now that I probably should do that anyway. So I'm currently working on that. I've got some projects that are going to be coming up that will be available on my YouTube channel. And I've mentioned this too. I've mentioned that I have a YouTube channel for the record company, and the link to the YouTube channel can be found in the description of this podcast. So please check it out, subscribe. It would mean a lot to me if you would do that. I'm just trying to be able to share my content and my work with people, and the way that I can do this is by having you subscribe. If you subscribe, I get more hits. Google starts paying more attention to what you're doing on YouTube. And, and at that point, they kind of reach out to you and start, kind of helping you out and, guiding you. And I probably need that, to tell you the truth, just because, it's all, I shouldn't say it's new to me, because it's not new to me, but, developing the page and doing all that stuff is just a lot of work. And so having somebody guiding me along the way probably is not a bad thing. So, other than that, I am, somebody had asked me the other day, if I still had, my full recording studio, my full-blown studio, because I had a huge studio at one time. And the answer to that is I have downsized. And I am currently working on building a nice-sized home studio. And, it's not as profitable as it used to be because, everybody can make music and release it right from their desktop or from their laptop, sitting on their couch. And so it's kind of, it's kind of hurt commercial studios. And so I do not have a large studio anymore. I can't remember who it was that asked me, but if you're listening, yes, I do not have my full-size studio anymore. It's been downsized, but I kept the important components, all the vintage outboard gear, the analog tape machines. I kept all that stuff. We're running Logic on a MacBook Pro for anybody that wants to record that route. And then I have a digital recorder that I use for this podcast. And that's another question that was brought up to me the other day. Is somebody asked, what do you use to record your podcast? Your podcast, sounds pretty professional. And I was like, well, I'm actually using a Zoom product. And me personally, I've always been a Tascam guy. I've always, since my early days in the music industry in recording, I was always a TAC or a Tascam guy. And their products are reliable, they're built like a tank, and their customer service is second to none. But when I decided to do the podcast, I was looking around specifically for recording equipment that was designed for podcasting. Not so much for like in a recording studio, but for podcasting that had the features that I would need for podcasting. And I found this little Zoom product, and it is called a LiveTrack L8. And this is a fantastic little recorder. And again, in my old age, I just can't remember who it was that asked me about that. But if you're listening, I use a Zoom LiveTrack L8 to record this podcast. And I also use the Zoom L8 with my Zoom 4K camcorder. And I can sync everything up. And I use this little board to mic everything up, record everything, and it syncs everything up to the camera. So so for film production, this is a great little board too. I think if you had a small home recording studio and you were just a songwriter, just looking to get your ideas, get your ideas down, this would be a great little setup too. It's very versatile. And the thing I like about it is you can plug it in and use it as an audio interface. So you can plug it into your computer and power the device off a USB. You can plug it into the wall and power it. Or you can take this thing out, use it as a remote recorder, and you can run batteries. You can use batteries on it. Or I believe you can even have a power brick. If you had an external power brick, you could plug it into this and it would power it for, I don't know, probably 8 or 10 hours. I don't know for sure on the amount of time because I've never tried that. I usually just leave it plugged right into the wall. Occasionally I'll plug it into the computer and use it as an audio interface. But, this is a great little device. So that's what I use to record the podcast. So I know this podcast this morning, folks, has kind of been all over the place. And, and I said in the beginning that this podcast was going to be very random and you would really never have any idea what I was going to talk about. It was, it was going to be 1 week it was going to be this, 1 week it was going to be that. So, and I guess that's kind of coming out in today's episode because I am kind of all over the place with my topics and what I'm talking about. But the most important thing is I am just glad that I'm alive today, and I'm just enjoying my day. I'm enjoying my coffee, and most important, I'm enjoying my time that I'm spending with you this morning. And I hope you feel the same. I hope you enjoy tuning into the podcast. I hope you enjoy listening to me. Sometimes I just start rambling on and I hope I don't bore anybody. And, I think that's really about it for today. My mind is kind of wandering, and I'm kind of going back to thinking about the art again, and I think I'm going to work on some of my art this morning after I finish my coffee. So with that being said, I'm going to wrap up today's show. I am so grateful that you've tuned in this morning. I'm so grateful that you want to spend a little portion of your morning with me. I really, truly appreciate that. And if anybody ever listening to this podcast just wants to get together in person and have a cup of coffee with me some morning locally here, hit me up. Send me an email. Text me. For those of you who have my phone number. Otherwise, send me an email. ManilaDawnRecords@gmail. It's in the description of the podcast. Hit me up. We'll get together. We'll have a cup of coffee. We'll chat about whatever you want. I look forward to seeing you next week. Everybody have a great day. We'll talk to you soon. I'm Kevin Peterson, and you're listening to Morning Coffee with Kevin.